Hi everyone, I'm Christy Fukushima, owner of Simple Wild Love. I wanted to take a second today and briefly discuss finding your perspective. I get asked at least once a week how I see what I see within my photography. People may not word it that way, but I believe what they're really asking is how did you find your perspective? So I'm going to cover 3 points that will hopefully explain how I got my perspective within photography and how it will help you find yours. I'm going to begin this video with 2 things that I've read that have impacted my perspective and vision within photography. The first thing that really shaped my perspective was a book that I was reading. It was titled 1000 Gifts. It was written by a woman by the name of Anne Voskamp, who was challenged by a friend in her time of need to write down 1000 things that she was thankful for. You might think this is an easy task, but after you get past the surface level things that we thank God for, such as family, friends, food, and air to breathe, you have to be more creative. You have to look past the surface and see things at a deeper level. I went through this exercise, and I'm not even going to play like I wrote 1000 things, but I did it long enough to recognize that I overlooked a lot of small things that are really beautiful. If you happen to pick up this book or decide to challenge yourself to write down 1000 things that you're thankful for, you'll see that we go through most of the days not appreciating what's right in front of us. We look past it and rush on to the next thing. So going through that exercise made me slow down and count the freckles on Naomi's face, sit in awe of the iridescent colors on a fish's scales, and appreciate the little nuances in people's facial expressions when they laugh or when they're sad. Started looking for different things. So this brings me to my first point of finding your perspective. You see what you look for. If you stop and look for something beautiful in things that are very mundane, you'll find it. It might not come naturally at first, but if you take a second, slow down, and focus intently on trying to find something amazing in this very moment, you'll find it. And you can train your brain to do this naturally in the future. Another thing that I read that has really contributed to my perspective is a teaching lesson from a photography professor. He gave his students one roll of film and asked them to lock themselves in a bathroom and make art. They had 35 images and a hideous location, and they were asked to make something beautiful. That concept has stuck with me because when I'm somewhere that appears ugly, I look for ways that I can manipulate my camera settings or my perspective to make it beautiful. And so this brings me to my second point. You miss what you don't look for. I know this seems obvious after my first point, but I mean this at a deeper level. I look back at the first years of my kids' life and realize that I wasn't looking for those beautiful things within them. I missed them. I thought I'd have an opportunity to embrace them in the future, but I missed that opportunity. I looked at periods of my life that I just wanted to have over with. You know the ones. The ones that make you want to complain all the time. It's in the negative emotions of a current situation that we overlook the blessings that exist within it. We almost blind ourselves to it. So by emphasizing the first point of you see what you look for and combining it with you miss what you don't see, it makes me more intentional about finding God's blessings and promises in what I see in front of me and what I'm experiencing currently. I certainly haven't arrived at any level of perfection within these 2 points, but I make a concerted effort to at least try. And so the third point that I want to discuss is being okay with having a unique angle. I mean this physically with your camera and within your mind. Perspective is also a way of understanding how aspects of your life relate to one another and to life as a whole. I've taken the angle of seeing God's beauty in all the small things. My pictures might not be museum quality, but it's a way for me to capture the seemingly small things that God considered when making them. When I take this perspective, it reminds me how I am fearfully and wonderfully made. It reminds me that He is there in all of the small things, that He cares enough to make freckles on little girls' faces and rainbows on the fish scales. Taking this perspective puts Him in His place and me in mine. So when I get behind my camera, it's not for fame on the internet. It's a way to remind my soul of what's really important. So I hope that this video post was inspiring and helpful to helping you find your perspective. So just to recap, you see what you look for, you miss what you don't, and it's okay to have a unique perspective. Good luck in finding your perspective.